You're listening to Keith Sports News. Hey, happy Friday. How's it going, my KSN subscribers? Welcome to Friday's edition, episode number 37. That's right. And it's already the month of May. Wow, it's crazy. The month of May, which is not only a big month for sports, but it's also my birthday month. My birthday is coming up pretty soon. So, yeah. All right. So, this episode, lately my episodes have been long because there was just so much to talk about. It's like that sometimes. But if it's not like that, then the episodes are usually around 30 minutes at least or more. So this episode is a lot shorter, I will say that, okay? So the month of May, big month for sports, okay? A lot going on. You know, UFL season, UFL regular season is about halfway over already. NBA and NHL playoffs, you know, madness. It's basically like May, you know how there was March Madness? This is like May Madness. Yeah. Okay. Then you got other big events that happens in the month of May. The French Open tennis, clay court season, Roland Garros in Paris, France. All right. Yannick Sinner, the number one seeded men's tennis player, is coming back very soon, or I think he's about to come back. I think his suspension is lifted. I think it's about over. He's going to come back. So I think he's going to come back in Rome, Italy, in a tournament. His home country, man. So he's great. I'm curious to know. He is a fantastic hard court player. We'll see how he does on his return, as well as the French Open on clay court. All right. So that usually begins on Memorial Day weekend. I forget what day exactly. It might be that Sunday. It might be that Sunday, the day before Memorial Day. Sunday before Memorial Day is a huge day for car racing. You got the Formula One Grand Prix in the morning, the Indianapolis 500 in the afternoon, and NASCAR's Coca-Cola 600. Holy crap. 3 giant races all in the same day. Yeah. So, that's coming up towards the end of this month as well. And the big thing happening this weekend, the first big thing that usually happens in the month of May in sports, which is tomorrow, Saturday, the first Saturday of May, the Kentucky Derby, horse racing. That's right. To kick off the Triple Crown. Yes. Every year I watch the Kentucky Derby. This is crazy. Last year, it was the 150th Kentucky Derby. And if you remember watching last year's Kentucky Derby race, what a exciting finish that was. If you haven't seen it, or if you forgot what happened, go ahead and look that up. Just look it up on YouTube. You'll see the race. So, yeah. I always look forward to this. I've watched this every year since 2013, 2014. 2014, I remember California Chrome, the amazing horse, man. Won the Kentucky Derby, then he won the Preakness Stakes, and he was so close. He fell short in the Belmont Stakes to win the Triple Crown. But then the following year, in 2015, a Triple Crown winner, American Pharoah. One of the best horses, if not the best horse I've ever seen in my life. One of the best horses ever. It's crazy. So, that was 10 years ago. American Pharoah. 10 years ago, he won the Triple Crown. And I was, oh man, I was so excited, man. I was a teenager back then, had my high-pitched voice. I was kind of like screaming. Because at the time, we witnessed history. The first Triple Crown winner in 37 years. The one before that was 1978. So for those of you that don't know or forgot what the Triple Crown is, you have to win 3 races. 3 big races. Kentucky Derby, the Preakness Stakes 2 weeks later, and then the Belmont Stakes 3 weeks after that. All in about a month or so, a little over a month. Not easy. It is not easy. It's only happened 13 times in Triple Crown history, which is over 100 years, I believe, right? It's insane. It's crazy. So, horse racing fans, they always want to see it. That's right. So, yes, so Kentucky Derby. People say it's the biggest horse racing event ever. And I think it is because so many people go to that. However, it is not the oldest. The Belmont Stakes is the oldest. Yes, the last race of the Triple Crown. That's the oldest one, okay? And I watch all 3 of them. I like all of them. I guess my favorite one is the Preakness Stakes, the one in the middle. The second one in between Kentucky Derby and Belmont Stakes is because the Preakness Stakes is always around my birthday. Okay? So, Preakness Stakes is always on the 3rd Saturday of May. My birthday is on a Monday this year. So, yeah, it's always around my birthday, that race. Okay? So, but yeah. I have been to some horse racing events. I've been to 2 tracks, both in Louisiana. I've been to mainly the one in Lafayette. It's called Evangeline Downs. Has a very nice casino inside. I don't gamble. I've never gone gambling. Well, at the time, it's gonna be 6 years since the last time I went there. But back then I was under the age of 18, so I couldn't gamble. So I usually, yeah, I remember going there a couple of times. I remember going there as a child, and then I went there almost every year in the summer. There is a chance we might go back there this year. I don't know, but I also went to the one in New Orleans. Yes, that's where they would have the Louisiana Derby. So. And I believe they also have Jazz Fest there. Never gone to Jazz Fest, but I have been to that race track before. So yeah, if I ever go back to one of those 2 places, I'll let you know. All right. I'm not a huge horse racing fan, but I always look forward to those 3 big horse racing events. Yes. And I mentioned you guys that for those of you that follow the episodes, you guys know that I love listening to sports talk podcasts on my own time. And the more I listen to, the more I'll listen to more shows, and it's crazy. I made a list of all the shows that I've listened to. And I know I did an early episode of me talking about that, but that was back then. Now I've added some more shows on the list. So at some point I'll have to do a full video of that. Or maybe I can do that on my main channel, like a quick short or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, there's a certain podcast that I would listen to on SiriusXM during the Triple Crown season. It's called Down the Stretch with Dave Johnson and Bill Finley. It's part of NBC Sports Radio on SiriusXM. And Dave Johnson used to be the voice of the Triple Crown in the old days. Okay? You know what I did last year? Last year, I've watched a whole bunch of old Kentucky Derby races, Preakness Stakes races, and Belmont Stake races. Because if you follow my main channel, and if you're kind of into horse racing like me, mainly for the Triple Crown, those three big horse racing events. Last year on the main channel, I released 3 giant videos. Kentucky Derby memorable races, Preakness Stakes memorable races, and Belmont Stakes memorable races. And I would put them in order. That's right, I would put them in order by year. And I've done that, and it's got a lot of views. That's great. So, yeah, Dave Johnson, he was the track announcer back in the old days. But his signature, you know how a lot of announcers, they have that signature. Brent Musburger, he would say, "You are looking live," or Jim Nantz would say, "Hello, friends, it's Jim Nantz here," Dave Johnson's signature is Down the Stretch. And that's why it's called Down the Stretch, that podcast that I would listen to during this time of the year. That's his signature. It's really, if you go watch some old Kentucky Derby races, you'll hear him. Mainly the 90s on ABC. Yeah. So, yeah, I do like the broadcast. The broadcast is great of the Kentucky Derby and Preakness Stakes. It's on NBC and Peacock, and the best part is, if you have Peacock, you don't have to watch it live. You can pause it, rewind it, or you can watch it the next day on demand. Fast forward to whatever, it's great. See, back then when I first started watching that, I couldn't, you couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I would have to watch it live. I had Cox Cable. For some reason, we couldn't DVR anything back then. So, but then years later, 2016, we got a newer version of Cox Cable called Contour, and you can record a whole bunch of stuff. And now the new cable is basically YouTube TV. And if you have YouTube TV, the best part about that is you can record unlimited events. Unlimited. Yeah, it's fantastic. And it's great picture, great sound. So, yeah. But Peacock is the main app that I use because of they have a a bunch of WWE content, pro wrestling. I watch old pro wrestling on a weekly basis. So, yeah. Or yeah, and Netflix as well because of Monday Night Raw. Yeah. So, but yeah, I've always liked the NBC coverage of the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes. Now, Belmont Stakes, NBC used to broadcast that until 2023. Fox took over, and it was really weird. Totally different. It's obviously, it's not the same people on it. It's not the same broadcasters. It's not the same host. It's not the same announcer. It's not the same interviewers. It's, Fox people. And their coverage is just not as entertaining as NBC's. I think it's because NBC, at the time, they were hosting it for over a decade. In the old days, it was ABC, you know. But it's weird that Fox is hosting the Belmont Stakes and NBC is hosting the Kentucky Derby and Preakness. So, yes, I clearly like NBC's coverage more than Fox's coverage, and it's unfortunate because if we get a Triple Crown winner this year, what network will be broadcasting that? Fox, not NBC. I mean, I don't hate the Fox broadcast. It's just not as great. It's not as entertaining as NBC's. But it is what it is. So, but, NBC will be still hosting the Kentucky Derby and Preakness Stakes by Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico, who doesn't like him? Everyone likes him. He's like Mr. NBC. Before him it was Bob Costas, and I know a lot of people criticize Bob Costas over the years. I've never have. I've always liked Bob Costas. Yeah, he was Mr. NBC back then. After he left, it was pretty much Mike Tirico that took over his spot. So, and yeah, I like the track announcer. His name is what's his name? Dang. See, I pretty much haven't watched horse racing since last year's Belmont Stakes. Crap, what is his name? Larry Colmus. Great announcer. He's kind of like the Joe Tessitore of horse racing. Yeah, he is that good. Yeah. So I haven't even looked at the horses, the odds, the names, the jockeys. I haven't looked at any of that stuff yet. I would usually wait until I start watching the broadcast on NBC or Peacock. Yeah, the Kentucky Derby. I think the reason why it's the biggest horse racing event ever is because there's so many races. It's like a marathon of horse races. I think there's like 12 horse races. Yeah. And I think it's in a span of 7 hours or something like that. It's crazy. It's like the Kentucky Derby is like their WrestleMania. It really is. WrestleMania. Well, back then WrestleMania was a one-night event. Now they split it into 2 nights. Kentucky Derby, they have their long, their pre-show coverage, the countdown, and then throughout the countdown or pre-game show, pre-race show, they'll have some of the the little races, the warm-up races. It's kind of like if you watch a UFC event, you get the prelims. Sorry, I can't pronounce that word. You get those fights, the warm-up fights, and then you get the main cards, the main fights, and then you get the co-main event, the main event. Obviously, the main event is the Kentucky Derby race, the one that has a whole bunch of horses. It's usually 20 horses, which is crazy. Yeah. It's like a battle royale or battle royal in pro wrestling. Got all these horses racing at the same time. It's crazy. So that's another reason why it's huge, you know. So yeah, I am looking forward to that. So that is the main thing that I'll be watching this weekend is the Kentucky Derby. So should be great. So throughout this week I didn't really watch any sports. Sometimes I don't really watch much sports during the weekdays. I usually watch more on the weekends cuz every weekend is a big sports weekend anyways. Before I get to the UFL, let's check in on the NBA and NHL playoffs. I already know what happened in the NBA. The LA Lakers, the only thing I really remember is that the LA Lakers got eliminated. And another guy that one of my favorite sports talk shows I like to listen to, in my opinion, the greatest right now, if not of all time, Christopher Mad Dog Russo. And he's funny, man. He's entertaining. He was confident that the LA Lakers would make a comeback. Come back down 3-1, and that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Let me go back to Monday, April 28th. The Cleveland Cavaliers destroyed the Miami Heat by a score of 138-83 in Miami. They lost by 55 points. And is that the worst? Or is that like, how do I say it? Is that the biggest blowout in NBA playoff history? I mean, when's the last time the NBA had a playoff blowout game like that? 55 points. I don't remember seeing that in a March Madness game in the first round. And the Miami Heat, their win-loss record, it's loading. 37 wins and 45 losses. Clearly they didn't belong in the playoffs. Why on earth is a 37-45 team in the playoffs? That's stupid. I mean, is the East Division weak? Or maybe it's because they always let in a little more than half of the teams in the playoffs. It really should be, what is it? It's 16, right? It should be 12. Or maybe 10. Or maybe even 8, you know? A 47 wins, 45 losses team in the playoffs, and they get absolutely destroyed. Yes, I know Cleveland Cavaliers are a great team, 64 wins and 18 losses, but that's not good for ratings. That's not good for TV ratings. I'm just saying. Who knows, man? The Cavaliers, they might go to the finals after that. Okay, and then later that Monday night, the Golden State Warriors, they beat the Houston Rockets by 3 points, 109-106, and they took a 3-1 series lead. On Tuesday, April 29th, there was 4 games. The Indiana Pacers, yeah, I heard about this as well. They eliminated the Milwaukee Bucks by a score of 119-118 in overtime. Indiana Pacers, I remember that team years ago. That team was pretty bad, but it's great that they're finally having a run in the playoffs. They're moving on to the second round. Okay. Then the Detroit Pistons beat the New York Knicks in New York by a score of 106 to 103. The Knicks, at the time, leading 3-2. The Boston Celtics took care of business by eliminating the Orlando Magic by a score of 120 to 89. The Denver Nuggets beat the LA Clippers by a score of 131 to 115, and they took a 3-2 lead. And Wednesday, April 30th, the Houston Rockets, they beat the Golden State Warriors in Game 5 by a score of 131 to 116. Golden State takes a 3-2 lead, so it was a must-win for the Houston Rockets. And then later that night, the LA Lakers got eliminated at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves by a score of 103 to 96. Is this the end of LeBron James? I don't think so. I think he's going to go on another year. He might go on for another couple of years, to be honest with you. I mean, he looks fantastic for his age. So, yeah. A lot of people thought we were going to get Lakers and Warriors in the second round. Who knows? We may not. We may get Rockets and Timberwolves instead. Now that the Lakers are eliminated. And then the other night, Thursday, May 1st, I'm just looking at these scores for the first time. The New York Knicks, they have eliminated the Detroit Pistons in Detroit by a score of 116 to 113. That's great. That's a team I want to see in the final. The New York Knicks, they haven't won it since 1973. That's Stephen A. Smith's team. You know, one of my favorite sports talk shows, the Michael Kay Show, the voice of the New York Yankees. He mainly talks New York sports, so he obviously wants to see the Knicks in it as well. And later that night, the LA Clippers are forcing a Game 7. They beat the Denver Nuggets by a score of 111 to 105. We will have a Game 7 between those two teams. Tonight, the Golden State Warriors are looking to advance to the second round. If they win, they advance. The Rockets, if they lose, they get eliminated. The game is in Golden State. I think Golden State will win. But the Houston Rockets, they put up a fight sometimes, so I'm not that confident, though, but I think the Warriors will win it. And the Game 7 will be tomorrow night between the LA Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. Both teams are dead even. Both have 50 wins and 32 losses. Wow. And then Sunday, May 4th, if necessary, Game 7 between the Warriors and the Rockets. And then it'll be the beginning of Game 1 of the East semifinals between the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right. To the National Hockey League in the NHL. I'm going to go through the scores again. Same thing. So, back to Monday night, April 28th. The Florida Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-2, and they took a 3-1 lead. Later that night, the late game, 8:30 p.m. puck drop time in Dallas. Kind of dumb, right? On a Monday evening. But the Stars took care of business. They beat the Colorado Avalanche 6-2, and they also are leading 3-2. Tuesday, 4 games. The Ottawa Senators shut out the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto 4-0. That's surprising. And they needed to win that game because they were facing elimination. Toronto Maple Leafs lead 3-2 the series. Later that night, the Carolina, okay, I heard about this one. The Carolina Hurricanes eliminated the New Jersey Devils 5-4 in double overtime. Wow. No shootout in the playoffs. You know how in the regular season, 5-minute overtime, if it's still tied after the 5-minute overtime, they do that shootout. They don't do that in the playoffs. They play a whole nother 20-minute period if they have to, if they need to. Yeah. Another game that went into overtime. The Vegas Golden Knights, they beat the Minnesota Wild 3-2. Vegas Golden Knights, they lead 3-2 at the time. And then the late night game, the Houston Oilers, they beat the LA Kings by a score of 3-1. And Edmonton leads 3-2 of that series from Tuesday night to Wednesday night, April 30th. The Washington Capitals took care of business. They beat the Montreal Canadiens 4-1, and they also eliminate the Canadiens, winning the series 4-1. That's a team that I would like to see in the finals because of Alexander Ovechkin making history not too long ago. And I remember seeing the Capitals, they won the 2018 Stanley Cup. It was great, and I saw their parade coverage. It was epic. It was something. All right. So that series came to an end. Another series that came to an end, the Florida Panthers, they eliminated the Tampa Bay Lightning in Tampa. They also took a 4-1 series victory. The final game, the score was 6-3. And then the last game of that evening, the Winnipeg Jets beat the St. Louis Blues 5-3, and they take a 3-2 series lead. Thursday, May 1st, 4 games that night. The Toronto Maple Leafs have eliminated the Ottawa Senators in Ottawa. They beat them 4-2. The score 4-2, as well as the series 4-2. The same thing happened to the Vegas Golden Knights. They eliminated Minnesota Wild by a score of 3-2. Golden Knights won the series 4-2. The Colorado Avalanche are forcing a Game 7. They beat the Dallas Stars by a score of 7-4. Series tied 3 games apiece. We will be having a Game 7. And the Edmonton Oilers have eliminated the LA Kings, a score of 6-4, and they won the series 4-2. Tonight will be Game 6, Friday night, between the Winnipeg Jets and the St. Louis Blues. If Winnipeg wins, they will move on. So it's a must-win for St. Louis. The game is in St. Louis, so the Blues are facing elimination. I want to see Winnipeg win it. They had a fantastic start. They were on a crazy winning streak at the beginning of the season last year. Do y'all remember that? That was crazy. Winnipeg Jets are a great team. And then Saturday night will be Game 7 between the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars in Dallas. Oh, okay. So it's not at 7. It's not at 8:30 this time. It's at 7 p.m. Okay. Probably because it's just that one matchup. And then Game 7, if necessary, between the St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets. That'll be on Sunday night, if necessary. All right. To the UFL. The regular season's already halfway over, man. That's crazy. There is a game tonight between the Arlington Renegades and the St. Louis Battlehawks. It's been quite some time since I've done my predictions. I'm going to do my predictions. Okay, I'm all caught up now with last week's games. The game is in St. Louis. So is the championship game. St. Louis, in my opinion, they have the best fans. Okay. And I will be rooting for them. I want to see this team in the championship game because that will be best for business. And it'll be great for the TV ratings. But hey, the UFL is not scripted, it's not rigged. Even though people say that it is in the NFL. Okay, then. But both teams are 3-2. This might be a close game. Maybe high scoring. I'm all in. I will. Nope, I won't be able to watch it because I have a live stream to do on my main channel. So I'm going to have to either watch the late night replay, if they do have it on, FS1. Sometimes FS1 or FS2, they show that late night replay game. I'll try to remember to watch that. If not, then I'm going to have to just watch the highlight video on YouTube. Let me say something about their highlights on YouTube. It's great that they upload the highlight videos to their YouTube channel, right? Just like all the other sports leagues. But what people don't like, including myself, is that they don't show after a team scores a touchdown, they don't show the team going for the 1-point conversion, the 2-point conversion, and the 3-point conversion. They don't. They have to show that every time so that we know if they made it or not. It's not like the NFL or the CFL or college football where it's always the extra point, automatic 1 extra point. There's no automatic extra point in the UFL. You have to show that. I mean, right? So, other than that, their highlights are fantastic. Saturday, we got an early game between the Memphis Showboats and the Houston Roughnecks in Houston. Man, Houston Roughnecks had their best game since 2023, I guess. Okay, well the game is in Houston. Although Memphis, they have one win, but their one win was against the 2022 USFL champions, 2023 USFL champions, and the 2024 UFL champions, the Birmingham Stallions, the 3-time spring football champs. The Stallions lost at home last weekend to the Memphis Showboats. And let me just say this. I didn't watch that game live, but I saw the highlight video. This just popped into my mind. For some reason, there were a lot of empty stands. Like, what the heck? A lot of empty stands for the 3-time spring football champions? Was it too hot outside at night? I don't get it. Oh well. I don't want Birmingham to be in the championship again anyways. I'm going to go with Houston. Don't let me down. Come on now. I know you had a big win last week, but after that win, they still have a shot at the playoffs, the semifinals. If they lose this game, I think it's over. I don't think there's a way. They can't lose to a 1-4 team at home. Although something like that happened 2 weeks ago. The winless San Antonio Brahmas, they beat the undefeated DC Defenders in DC. After that game, anything's possible. Any team can beat any team after that game. You can bet on these games too. Not easy, man. I'm going to go with Houston. I want to be confident. I want to be positive, okay? Because that is a team that I'm rooting for, anyways. Okay. Um, I won't be able to watch that game live as well. Um, maybe it's on ESPN Plus though, so I do have ESPN Plus. I might watch that game after the Kentucky Derby. Yeah. So I think I will. I think I will do that. So I might have to, if I do remember, I will probably put that game on after the Kentucky Derby because it's on ESPN Plus. Then we got a doubleheader on Sunday, 11 a.m. The DC Defenders at the Michigan Panthers. That'll be a great matchup. DC Defenders are 4-1. Michigan Panthers are 3-2. Oof. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Panthers. I think Michigan will win, but I won't be surprised if DC wins. I only picked Michigan because they're the home team, and they came off a tough loss against a great St. Louis team. Even though DC also beat St. Louis in St. Louis, this is not it's not easy predicting these games. All right, I feel like once I made my prediction, I can't change my mind. Then the last game at 3 p.m. Central, the San Antonio Brahmas at the Birmingham Stallions. I'm not interested in that game, but I'm a root for San Antonio. I don't think they're gonna win though. I think no way Birmingham's gonna lose another home game. That might be a blowout. What the heck happened to San Antonio after last week? It's maybe because Wade Phillips is no longer the coach. That's unfortunate. So, anyways, if I'm not able to watch any of these games on replay, then it'll be the highlights. But yeah, I mentioned earlier they need to show the 1 point conversion, 2 point conversion, and the 3 point conversions after a team scores a touchdown. They need to, it's part of the game, right? All right. Any other news here? Let me check ESPN because sometimes I'll get some news, sometimes breaking news as well. Let's see here. I usually get scoring news of on what's going on in mainly NBA NHL playoffs because that's the big thing right now. Okay, some sad news. This was from ESPN notification. It says that a fan has fell 21 feet to field at PNC Park, still in critical condition. Oh my gosh. PNC Park is the home to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Very nice ballpark. It really is. That is one of the ballparks to check out. Um, it's very nice. The background, center field looks fantastic. Damn, a fan who fell 21 feet to field at PNC Park is still in critical condition. I did not see a video footage of that. I don't know if I want to see a video footage of that. That's just not that's so sad. Man. I really hope that fan is okay. I guess that fan was trying to catch the baseball. I don't know if he was. I guess he was sitting in left center field or right center field. That's my guess. Um, yeah. Okay. One more news. This is also some sad news in the NFL. Do y'all remember Florida State quarterback Jordan Travis? Well, unfortunately for him, he announced his retirement due to injury. Yeah, that's a shame. Travis, he was the Florida State quarterback. 2023 was his final season, and unfortunately for Florida State fans, they don't like to hear this. That was the year where they got screwed out of the playoff, the last year with the four-team playoff format, even though we all wished it was a 12-team playoff format instead, because if it was, then they would have got in. But it probably wouldn't matter anyways because Travis he had like a serious injury. I think what happened? Did he like it's a leg? Oh man, that's sad. And after that, man, the following year he got drafted by the New York Jets, but he never actually got to play for the Jets. Wow, what the heck? What the heck is it with the New York Jets these years? Aaron Rodgers, 2023, injured his Achilles, out for the season. First game, first few plays, injured his Achilles, out for the season. Last year, a lot of people thought the New York Jets would be in the playoffs because Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I didn't thought so, and look what happened. Another another bad season for that team. And now another bad news Jets. It's like, you know how you heard the bad news Bears? These are the bad news Jets. Hey, if there's any old Jets fans out there that remembered when they won that Super Bowl, the third Super Bowl in history, I guess y'all can say that Joe Namath is still the greatest Jets quarterback in history. Ay, ay, ay. So that's it, guys. That's it. And I guess I lied. I thought this talk would be much shorter. Well, it is shorter, but it's still, a lot longer than, expected. But hey, I'm in no rush. Even though technically I kind of want to get this over with. But hey, at least didn't forget about this. So yeah, Kentucky Derby, that is the main thing that I'll be watching. And then I'll catch up on the UFL. All right. And I believe that's it. So yeah, the month of May, big month for sports. This is just the beginning. All right. So, uh, place your bets, I guess. Mm-hmm. Who knows what will happen? Yeah. Oh, this just popped into my head. I almost forgot. I want to give a shout out to Five Tayer if he is listening to this episode. I got a comment from him from the last episode, and I would usually read it out loud in the following episode. He says, "It's funny how you watched the Battlehawks game, and I didn't, but only because of other events. And Manny Wilkins should be our quarterback, but sadly he suffered a torn ACL in Week 4. Yeah, I heard about that, but I forgot to mention that. in the last episode. So that's why Max Duggan took over. I got it right. I didn't say Max Dunnigan. I didn't say Matt Duggan. Not to be confused with CFL former quarterback Matt Dunnigan on TSN. So, hey, I think Max Duggan did pretty well. So we'll see how he does in his next game, which is tonight against the Arlington Renegades. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. If you're a horse racing fan, enjoy the Kentucky Derby. Sports big events fans, enjoy that. NBA, NHL playoffs, UFL, tennis, golf, whatever. It's a lot going on. Talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Thank you for listening to Keith's Sports News.